Probably too low for him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In Europe, you have to pay. You're in Europe, girl.
Yeah, I remember in Mexico, you have to pay for toilet paper.
You pay for the stand. I don't see
Yeah.
my neighbors.
I remember that.
Testimony, yes, as Eric said.
Yes, but people are so like, what? There's not one person that wants it that I know of, you know?
Well, we need to identify this stuff, go to work on it, you know, that's. You know, they always said it. You're glad you're just like, how many communities are you a slave to?
What is this?
Yeah.
I know, but what is this? What do you do with it?
Right, right?
Got that, but when it's folded something, I know it's folded into something, but what is? What do you do?
So you're never home.
Maybe it's a dog.
Anyway. Anyway, I appreciate what you do. Well, it's good. Thank you.
Deb's fine. Deb.
Well, Denise, what's been on your dance card? You're the busy lady. Oh, you don't dance. You dance.
It's folded.
I'm
What's
happy.
it for? What's it for?
And you go in here.
Yeah, but what's it for?
I
Cat
sent
like
you
that.
I know you don't like the big ring.
My cat when she was young, used
I
to
know you
bet,
are, but the point is,
but she doesn't anymore. She'd rather,
You were such a
rather
good-
murder.
you're such a good wordsmith. Little tweaks and make it different.
Anything will do, right?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're gonna get started. All right, I call this meeting to order. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Pahi Nui sends her apologies. She's not able to attend tonight. So we'll start off with, for those of you that don't know, a community member, Dakota Briley, is in the hospital due to a really tragic accident. So we'd like to have a moment of silence for Dakota, please. Okay, thank you. Also tonight, we have some board members that this will be their last meeting. Erica, Mark, Frank, Mike Beekler, Mike Lyons, Cheryl. Are you sure? And Maka. And we're very grateful for your service. Thank you so much. So before we get started, I want to let everybody know that there's going to be an upcoming joint neighborhood board meeting, North Shore, Wahiawa, and Mililani, on July 30th at Lelohua High School to address the proposed gondola project on Mount Kaala. The developers will be invited, and there will be more details to come, so stay tuned, and we will also post that information on our neighborhood board Facebook page. Okay, declaration of any conflicts by board members? Anything on the agenda tonight, guys? Wanna, Denise? Oh, okay, we can do it later, yeah. Okay. All right, we'll start off with the city monthly reports. Honolulu Fire Department.
Hi, good evening. The statistics provided below represent confirmed number of incidents in the neighborhood board's geographic area for the previous month. For more details on the incidents and related mapping information, please visit the fire response map on our HFD website at fire.honolulu.gov under the News and Info tab. Should you have any questions, please email the HFD's Public Affairs and Media Liaison at hfdnhb@honolulu.gov. I think there was a few questions from last meeting. Information previously requested. Question one was, has there been any fires related to lithium ion batteries? From January to April of this year, none of the fires in this neighborhood board area were caused by lithium ion batteries. Question 2, are there any special steps or procedures you should do for a battery fire? And my counterpart, Captain Ihori, answered, and again, this is what we're recommending. The best course of action is to evacuate the fire area and call 911, the same as you would for any fire. How do you safely use, store, this was question number 3, sorry. How do you safely use, store, or charge batteries? And again, this is what Captain Ihori recommended, and this is what we're recommending. Carefully monitor lithium-ion batteries while charging them, and preferably charge them outdoors. Then make sure to unplug your devices once they are fully charged. Incident statistics for the month of May. Fires, structures, we had 0. Wildland brush, we had 3. Nuisance fires, we had 3. Cooking, we had 0. Alarms, which no fire, we had 3. And medicals in the neighborhood boards community, we had 44. Motor vehicle collision and pedestrian, 0. Motor vehicle crash collision, 4. Mountain rescues, 2. Ocean rescues, 1. And hazmat incident, 0. So nuisance fires includes rubbish fires or outside a structure or vehicle. Our fire safety tips and announcements from the Honolulu Fire Department website announcement. The Honolulu Fire Department is excited to announce the launch of 2 new public data tools on its official website at fire.honolulu.gov. The Incident Trend Dashboard and the Fire Response Search Tool. So bear with me, there's some bullet points for this. The Incident Trend Dashboard gives residents easy access to 5 years of emergency data by neighborhood, including fire, rescue, medical, and hazmat incidents, with interactive maps and charts. The dashboard helps communities better understand emergency trends in their areas. The First Response Search Tool replaces the previous response mapping tool, which is no longer supported and was recently taken offline. This tool enables individuals and entities to look up specific emergency incidents in which they have an interest in or may have been involved in or affected by. This tool also enhances transparency and provides residents with efficient and direct access to incidents in a secure and accessible format. Developed by the Honolulu Fire Department's Planning and Development Division with the help from a city and county of Honolulu Po'okela Fellows intern, these data tools reflect our ongoing commitment to transparency, innovation, and community engagement. To access these data tools, please visit fire.honolulu.gov/news-and-info/. One more time, just in case you want to look at this. So the word fire.honolulu.gov/news, NEWS, dash, and the word and, AND, dash, info, /. Good? Okay.
Captain, could you just state your name for the record, please?
Sure. Captain Renbert Miyamoto.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Community, any questions? Board members? Bob? Oh, sorry, Frank, after you, Bob, after Bob.
Regarding the fire on the slopes of Mount Ka'ala and Kamananui area, I have a couple of questions. One, was it a control burn that got loose? 2, in terms of what the Army and the city and county did together, how did those efforts, how are they combined? I mean, that you work together to get it out is good, but I'm always curious about the division of labor or the utilization of assets.
So I can't say for sure if it was a controlled burn or a prescribed burn that got loose, I can say that the combined efforts though were the Army and City and County of Honolulu, and also DOFA. So we're doing airdrops. We also inserted personnel to fight the fire on the ground. Sure.
What are the best things to help fight fires, I believe, is fire breaks. Are there adequate fire breaks along the ridge lines that to
Mm,
help fight fires?
that I couldn't tell you. I don't know the terrain well enough up there, so.
Thank you, Bob. Go ahead, Frank.
I have, excuse me, two questions. The land across the street is part of the fire department. It says
Mm.
property of the fire department. What's going on with that land? I see they cleared it. It looks great. Thank you for that. I'm just wondering if you got any updates on that. And the other comment is when it comes to ocean safety and mountain safety, I think a lot more attention goes to ocean safety, but like you just said, you had 4 mountain rescues and 1 ocean rescue. And I think it's something that as a county, we need to prioritize as education for anyone that comes to visit and people that live here, that the mountains are just as deadly as the ocean.
Mm.
And people die up there hiking probably as much as they die in the ocean. I'm not exactly sure on that, but there's a lot of people that have died hiking and get lost hiking.
Mm.
So anyway, I just want to pass it along.
Oh, yeah, thank
What's
you.
going on with the land across the street here?
I'm not sure, but on our next time we come, we'll have an answer. I'll find out for you though. You're welcome. You're Mr.
Thank you, Frank. Denise.
Aloha.
Oh, hi.
I want to go back to the Schofield burn issue because it was a huge, huge fire, a huge concern for our community. A couple of observations. So according to the news, it was a controlled burn that started on June 3rd, but by the time it was out of control, it was like about a week later. And I happened to see your chief zooming up to the North Shore on that day. So I'm not sure that HFD was appropriately involved from the beginning,
Mm.
which is regrettable because you guys are awesome. And so my question is, following up on Bob's, can you report at the next meeting to the neighborhood board, Denise,
Sure.
with more detail what happened at Schofield? There are a couple of big gaps. One was not getting HFD involved earlier, in my view, and DOFA involved earlier. The other thing is there was no H&L alert. And I think both Chair Achu and I were getting, the Maui fire was going on that day, and we probably got like 30 alerts on the Maui fire and nothing on Schofield. I'm not criticizing you, but I'm asking, can fire encourage the Army to get on H&L? Because that was coming right into our community. So could you provide more detail at the next meeting on those issues?
Okay.
Thank you so
So
much.
just for clarification, you would want to know why HFD wasn't involved earlier, and also try to encourage the Army to get on H&L alerts.
Yes,
Okay.
and then also I know it's not your jurisdiction, but DOFA should have also been, it just seemed like this tremendous time lag between the resources that you provide and DOFA provides and H&L alerts provide, and it was
Yeah.
pretty big fire.
Yeah.
Thank
and
you.
You're welcome. And like I said, we'll have answers for you guys next meeting.
Anybody else on here? No? Okay. Thank you, Captain.
You guys-
Appreciate you guys.
Okay.
Yes. For the next one. Sorry, thank you. HPD.
Good evening, Lieutenant Romel Baisa from the Honolulu Police Department, Wahiawa Police Station. I have Sergeant Lucius Crab. He's currently the sergeant in charge of the sector for Wailua and Haleiwa. Reporting statistics for June 1st to the 22nd of 2025 for your area, which is again Wailua and Haleiwa. 1 assault case, 2 burglary cases, 2 motor vehicle collisions involving cars that are being towed. Those are the more major motor vehicle collisions. 0 robbery, which is always good. 3 unauthorized entry into motor vehicles. Those are car break-ins. Total of 584 calls for service so far in the month. As far as citations, we're tracking about 375 parking, 399 traffic infractions, and 46 criminal citations. For safety tips for the month, we just want to ask you guys to please teach your children how to call 911 and when to call 911. Explain to them what emergencies are. I guess we've been getting a lot of concerns where kids call, they dial the number and then they don't know what to say, and we have to send officers to that. Calls are prioritized according to importance. So I know there's a lot of people that ask, hey, should I call 911 for this? If you're not sure, just call anyway, and then the call takers will prioritize your calls. Our station is heading a gun buyback program similar to a lot of the things that you hear on the news. We're gearing it more towards kupuna. So if you have family members that no longer want their guns at home, especially some of those who passed away, they can call our community policing team at 723-8710, and then they can set up a date and time when we can pick up the guns. We do give Foodland gift cards, $100 for pistols and shotguns, and $200 for assault type firearms. Those are the rifles. We actually just got approval to go island wide with this. So we're gonna do a gun buyback on, right now it's set for Saturday, July 12th from 8 to 4 p.m. at the Wahiawa station. So we'll do a media blast for it when we're ready. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Community, anybody with questions? Board members? Bob. Go get it.
Inquiring mind. When you mentioned how many 911 calls you got, when you dial 911, some of them are police and some of them are whatever else. So the number you give is the total 911s, or those are the referral to police?
Police only, correct.
Could you all, just for the sake of it in the future, also provide the total 911s?
I cannot.
Cannot? Okay,
That's
then.
something, yeah, we the police call.
Okay.
So as far as the EMS and HFD, I'm not sure how.
Okay.
I'll have to call them if anything, but.
Incidentally, I made a 911 call. I got fabulous service. The
always-
lady on the phone said, stick around. Let me tell you what's going to happen. She must have spent 5 minutes getting me primed up on how to deal with it. And it was wonderful.
Good, awesome, nice to hear.
Frank?
Thank you. Thank you. So unfortunately, I've been involved in a couple of car accidents, like every year or so. And so can you clarify, even a minor fender bender, like, should I call the police as soon as it happens? Because that's what I learned last week, is that I should have called when I was up at Waipio. But what is the law or the rule or whatever you guys go by? Because once when I was in Haleiwa, I reported it, but it was going to be like over an hour for a response because it was not a priority, and it was like almost 10 at night. Or am I supposed to wait there for an hour with the other party as well?
It's up to you. So a motor vehicle collision is actually a civil matter. You don't have to have the police respond to motor vehicle collisions. So you can exchange information unless there is something criminal that arises or that happens, right? So for example, somebody hits your car and then flees the scene. Then you should call 911. Again, you don't have to, but you should, because there's something criminal now, fled scene, right? Leaving the scene of an accident. But as far as just fender benders, you and the other person can just exchange information, and then that should be good to go.
One follow-up, what information should I exchange? I exchanged the insurance, but I didn't get their driver's license. Is that something that I should be able to get? Is their driver's license?
I would at least get the person's name and contact information so that you can tell your insurance company, their insurance company, and how to get, who was driving the car at that time. Yeah. So at the very least, their insurance information, name, contact, phone number, maybe. Very good.
Okay. Anybody else down here? No? Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. Have a
Run.
nice night.
Okay, next we have ocean safety. I don't think they're here. So I have a brief report and we will send the details to NCO and have it published in our minutes. So incidents for the month of May 2025, 32 incidents. Hold on. 16 rescues, 2 first aid reports, and minor first aid is 1,500. If it's a really long report, I'd take forever to get through this. So I will submit it and it will be posted in our minutes. Board of Water Supply, that's usually Kathleen. So no main breaks to report. There's a general the water quality report. Each year, the Board of Water Supply mails customers an annual report on the quality and contents of our drinking water. Effective July 1st, 2025, the BWS will be providing this report on a biennial basis, issued in July and December of each year. The report is available online at boardofwatersupply.com. For more info and to request a translated copy, please call the Board of Water Supply Communications Office at 808-748-5041. We'll move on to residents and community concerns. I'm just gonna note that I will give 2 minutes and I will hold on to that because we do have a full agenda consideration of time. We wanna get it moving so everybody has opportunity. So, sorry, I need these things. Residents, community, okay, yes. Anybody? Larry?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Larry McElhenney. I'd like to share with you the experience I had about a week ago at the City Council Zoning Committee. They were discussing, for information purposes, the Andy Anderson backyard proposal in Haleiwa. Very important issue. It was a little bit disturbing to me because the consultant and even the DPP representatives were engaging in what I call doublespeak. They talked a lot about the Sustainable Communities Plan, and they were cherry sections of that plan to make their proposal sound acceptable. I'll give you some examples. This is what it says in the North Shore Sustainable Communities Plan. As Honolulu and its suburban areas continue to grow and become increasingly urbanized, remember that word, urbanized, it has become more important to maintain the North Shore as an essential haven and respite from the urbanized, there's that word, areas of Oahu. It also says in the technical report that supports the Sustainable Communities Plan, I read, the retention of the rural character was the single most important issue for the North Shore community. Now, this bill that they're considering, Bill 37, it seeks to amend the state land use district boundary map from agricultural, that would be rural, correct, to urban. That's what this bill is all about. Some of the language that they were using, it's almost like they're saying black is white, down is up, wrong is right. And they're trying to tell us that urban is rural. That's what they're saying. Urban is going to keep the country, urban zoning. I encourage you folks to submit testimony. Do your research. It's very, very easy to submit testimony. You can just go to the City Council homepage and it's this little icon there you can click on submit testimony. You have to go through a few steps, but please Your neighborhood board is doing a terrific job. Many of the members were there testifying in opposition, and they did a great job. We got an uphill battle apparently because DPP is supporting this zone change. It's incredible. And my testimony is going to try and convince the council members that they don't want to buy into this doublespeak baloney.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
I will jump in on that really quick, Karen, sorry. The meeting that is referring to is this Thursday at 9 a.m. at the zoning committee in the main chamber. If anyone is interested in attending, it's great to go in person. You can also go online, just go to citycouncil.org and you can submit your written testimony as well. So we just want to really overwhelm them with the testimony regarding your position. So thank you very much, Larry, for that. Karen.
Karen Gallagher. I was at that meeting and there were, what was it, 168 testimonies against this and one for it, the Carpenters Union. And so it's just really disturbing that they would consider they're going ahead with it. And one thing they said that actually everyone's to start laughing. They actually said development, which is going to add another shopping center as big as the Hawaii store lots or maybe a little bit bigger. And they said this is going to keep the country. They actually said that. So anyway, do please submit testimony. We need to just send them an avalanche. Aloha.
Thank you, Karen.
Good evening, Gil Riviere, Waialua resident. A couple weeks ago, we had a presentation at the Waialua High School, an intermediate school. It was Kukiai Mauna Ka'ala, Waialua Civic Club, and Keep the North Shore Country. And we presented the information on the proposed gondola going up the side of the mountain. It's a project that's become very controversial as people become aware of it. We're finding just about nobody wants it. There's a huge amount of opposition to this project. And so tonight, I just wanted to mention that we've gone beyond these initial three groups. We've got an alliance of associations now, and it's called Kupa'a Ka'ala Alliance. So we're standing up, for the mountain and for the land and for the agricultural land and proper land use planning. And we're up to a dozen associations now and groups. Sierra Club is on board, La Hui Foundation. And it's just going on, and it's every day. We're getting 2 or 3 more groups. Everybody's stepping for Hawaii 1,000 Friends, Life of the Land. It goes on and on. So here's the announcement. This Sunday at 10 a.m. up the hill across from where the project would be, up by the reservoir up there, is where we're going to be standing from 10 until 11:30, waving signs saying that we don't care for this project. We think it shouldn't be here. It's inappropriate. Many, many reasons why: environmentally, traffic, bad planning, everything. And it's meant to be, it got approved as accessory to agriculture. And it's just no way that this massive tourist industry is accessory and secondary to any agriculture on that land. So we're opposed to it. We're inviting everybody to come 10 o'clock on Sunday. Because we anticipate some parking issues and a big turnout, we have organized a shuttle service from the Waialua High School parking lot. So starting at 9:30, we're going to have a shuttle going to the site. So we'd encourage people to park there and do that. And finally, if you can make it, if you're a believer, you got to be a believer, and you want to come out on Saturday morning at 9:30 at the Waialua Community Association, we're going to be making some of the signs. So come Saturday at 9:30 to the WCA in Haleiwa, 10 o'clock, sign waving. And with the chair's indulgence, I'll hand this and you guys can have the information.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Anybody else? Barb, you gotta jump, Barb.
Hey, I'm Barb Lupo. Gil, is the shuttle from the office side or the gym? Okay, just curious. Also, on Saturday, I wanted to remind everybody, been a long planning for the Wailua Health Fair at the old sugar plantation offices. It's from 10 to 2, so unfortunately that'll conflict. But we're offering a lot of good stuff. Dr. Nash Witten from Haliva is going to talk about healthy aging. There's going to be an attorney there to talk about power of attorney and advanced care directives, which as a nurse, I think are very important that we all get to make our decisions ahead of time and that our family's aware of it. And then there's going to be somebody speaking about long-term care and risks. We're going to have blood pressure checks, blood sugar checks. Maka's wife's going to be there with Native Hawaiian healthcare in the area. Be a lot of things and fun games for the kids. So if you're not going to be making signs and you want to come to this, it's just over in Haliva 10 to 2. It's free. On this Saturday at the Wailua Sugar, 10 to 2.
The old manager's
The
building.
old manager's building, yeah, behind the fishing store.
Thank you, Barb. Linnell?
Just as a reminder, this Friday, there is that meeting with BLNR, the record of decision for the final EIS for Kahuku, Makua, or Moho. So if you'd like the opportunity to go and speak up what you think, what you feel, what you know, what you've observed with the military presence on these lands, this is the time to share it. And we will also be providing an air-conditioned van for those that don't want to drive, because that's always a deterrent, yeah, getting into this and having to deal with the traffic and the parking. I mean, we got, those issues just in the country. So the first pickup will be at the Kahuku District Park at around 6:30. And if Larry is still interested, we'll be heading at Foodland, Puputea Foodland at about 7:15. And the reason why it's early, you do need to register in order to give an oral testimony. So, and then we'll be heading back out to the country at around 2 p.m. Lunch will be provided for, there will be chairs. We want the people to be comfortable, so they stick around. All right, so so those of you that are interested, please show up. And there is strength in numbers. Thank you.
Thank you, Auntie Linnell. Sir? And then just state your name for the record, yeah?
Hi, I'm John. I just want to make you aware, this Saturday, the 28th at Waimea Bay, it's our second race of the North Shore Swim Series. There'll be a total of 4 swims yet. We've already had one as part of the series. We're expecting between 500 and 600 people. We encourage all the participants to come early and carpool, either at Waimea Bay Beach Park, Waimea Valley, and then at the church as well. They start at 9. They'll wrap up between 11 and noon. So the next one is this Saturday, then July 12th, July 26th, and August 2nd, all starting at Waimea Bay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Right. Okay, we will move on to board business. I will hand, first on the agenda is the North Shore Neighborhood Board number 27, recommendation to the Department of Parks and Recreation on dogs in North Shore parks. I will hand this over to Parks Committee Chair Denise Antolini.
Or as the agenda spells it another way, but that's okay. Hey, tonight is dogs and cats night. All right, I'll try to get to it. I handed out, there are extra copies from my home printer over there of this motion. It's just the top part. It's the motion. The rest is additional information. So I want to thank Parks Committee members, Erica, Charlene, Debbie, Raquel, and then we had some community members involved. So let me frame it. As it says in the attachment to the motion, I'm done already. Okay, motion's approved. In April, the City Department of Parks and Recreation asked all neighborhood boards to assess their district parks to determine the suitability for on and off leash dog parks. They wanted the feedback by August 29th. You can read this, but basically only 35 city parks out of 308 now allow leash dogs, 10 have off leash. 85% of all parks don't allow dogs for recreation. In our parks district, we only have one park that allows dogs. That's Kamananui. Most people don't even know where it is. So our Parks Committee visited it. We had a great site visit, but none of us knew where it is except for the neighbors. So we met on June 17th on site first at Bill and Peggy Patey, Kayaka Beach Park. And there's notes on there that I hope you read about why it's named after Bill and Peggy, but you can read those later. And our main goal was to respond to DPR's request for feedback. So just want to repeat, we are not initiating this. We are doing our duty to give feedback to parks. So what we did is we went through the list of all the beach parks and we just ranked them, what is suitable for on leash, off leash. And essentially you'll see here for on leash, we recommended on leash in about half parks, but with limited hours, because that's when people walk their dogs anyway and to avoid conflicts with other beach users. So again, it's just our recommendation that the parks, that DPR consider possible on leash at these parks with morning and evening hours. So you can see the ranking there on page 1. And then on the back, we considered parks that we thought were not as appropriate for on leash because they were small or on the shoreline or too heavy recreational use. So that's the list on the back. Then we had really good discussion about off leash, letting the dogs run. There's some really successful off leash parks in town. We recommended sites, one on quote this side and one on quote the other side, for DPR to start looking into off-leash parks. These are fenced. Often they have large and small dog areas with all the amenities for the doggies and the owners. So we suggested some sites for the off-leash parks. I want to thank Andrea for especially investigating Bonsai Skate Park as an option. And we also looked, somebody mentioned earlier, the fire station lot over here that fell through, a big open lot. It would need a lot of work, but it's a big open lot owned by the city. So let me read the motion. I'll get to the point and take any questions. The motion from the Parks Committee for Board approval is to adopt the following recommendations regarding on and off leash dog parks for the North Shore parks. 1, on leash dogs with restricted hours. See the list in the motion. There's a lot of parks. And 2, new off leash dog parks. Again, one on this side and one on the other side. A lot of details on here. We had a great discussion. Parks Committee had a lot of fun and open for questions. And then the motion comes from the committee, moved and seconded. So I think we just vote. Is that right? Yeah. So I'm happy to answer questions or any additional information from our parks members. So, Bob?
I applaud your efforts to put this all together.
Bob, hold on one
Oh,
second.
yeah, that's right. You
please.
haven't recognized me.
Does anyone second Denise's? Okay. Thank you. Discussion. Bob, now go ahead.
Oh, okay, because I thought we were doing discussions before motions these days, but apparently we're back to how we used to was. That's okay, it doesn't matter. Many thanks for putting this together. This is awesome. And you're right, the Kamananui Park is 3 blinks and pretty tiny park. The park that I had suggested, and I'd be curious why it's a bad idea, is the 30 acres next to Sunset Elementary School. And it wouldn't have to be the whole 30 acres. It could be whatever size be adequate or appropriate. But you have parking, you have a restroom, you don't have grass you have to worry about. It's all shaded out in there. And I'm sure there's some reasons why it's a bad idea, but I'm curious why it got shut down as an idea.
In response to your, it did not get shut down. It did not consider because it is not, we were given a list of developed city parks. So we were given the list of our designated parks. And so we went through the designated park list. And then we said, hey, there's some other city-owned park lots. And we thought about we didn't think of all of them because there's a lot of city land up here owned by parks and others. So we just kind of stuck to the inventory we were given. But if Bob would like to add that.
Well, I'd like a definition for designated. So there's parkland and there's non-designated parkland. or-
Develop each parks that were given to us on the list. So they're
Okay.
the official city developed parks. Yeah, but you're right. There's a lot of undeveloped park owned land. Good question.
Frank, go ahead.
So along those lines, my question is about the land that the fire department owns. That looks like it's on your list. What would the process be, or would there even be a process to make that into a city park? Because I know right now it's not a city park. It doesn't look like a city park compared to all these other locations besides the other one where the farmer's market used to be.
So our job is to just convey this to the city, to Nate Sirota at DPR, and then they will figure out what the process is. So I do not know. But it was obvious to us that lot would need a lot of work to become a dog park because it had nothing. It's nothing, right? There's no shade, there's no amenities, there's no development. But we put it out there as a recommendation for exploration.
Thank you. I would love for that to be a part of our parks. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. You would like it to be a park. Yeah. Erica.
Yes, when we discussed this with the parks, I was under the impression we were talking about on the Waialua existing district park side. I know there was talk about a skate park at one point over here. There's already infrastructure with water and other things. So I was thinking the dog park could be tucked into one of the corners. I don't know if near the pickleball courts or tennis courts or on the far side, kind of near where the playground and gym is. I don't know, but somewhere in the existing already park area is what I would think would be a better location.
Okay, I don't remember that, but we can add it. We can add, so
It
now
was
we're
early.
adding Wailua District Park as a possible off-leash location. Okay.
Thank you. Blake.
Thank you very much for everyone's hard work on this. It's so important for the Parks Committee to visit all of these resources and work on those types of definitions that Board Member Lainau was talking about. I'm trying to understand if the review process involved any type of outreach to the adjacent neighbors. And I'm sorry if I missed that, but I'm just trying to
So Blake, Parks will presumably do that. We did have Scientary Yamanoha join us. And so for Kamana Nui, they were neighbors, but our review, we did, there's so many parks. This is not our job, just to be honest, is to do the outreach. We were just kind of a quick screen for the committee's sense of it. But presumably there's going to be a long process for parks to do that outreach. Yeah, but our meetings are noticed and open to everyone. So just a reminder, anybody was welcome to join, and we did have 3 community members join us. And we have visited, I think, 6 beach parks so far, site visits, yep.
just so if possible.
Go ahead.
I think this work is so important. I just could imagine being someone in one of these areas, feeling surprised to see this list. And then, as we all know, sometimes Parks Department, any department will use the voice of the neighborhood board in ways that are unexpected. So I just hope that in the future, we might try and imagine worst case scenarios. Thank you.
Blake, do you want us to add something to the, that says, to add something about community consultation? I mean, if you propose language, I'm happy to add it. It's a good point.
Yeah, I'm just very concerned about the process, and I don't think that was right for the Parks Department to ask the committee to perform this function. I just have strong
Okay, well,
reservations.
I just did my duty. We just did our duty, but I'm happy to add something if you have language.
I would include some language that we don't want this list utilized in any form or fashion until all adjacent landowners of these identified parcels are incorporated into the review process.
Okay, we can work on that. Thanks.
Maka.
Mahalo. Mahalo Parks Committee. I've only seen or experienced, seen from a distance because I don't have a dog, the Milani Mauka off-leash park. And so from my visual experience, it's a fenced off area that looked sizable, I guess. And as we discuss this with our neighbors and our community and the planning, what am I trying to get to? I think the infrastructure that you're talking about and the resources necessary to be able to safely accommodate the furry friends is something we should consider. And yeah, I guess my question is, did you folks get to look at Mauka as an example and visualize that concept down here? Or did you folks use a different example as what could be imagined for our neighborhood?
Yep. First of all, I think I'll make sure that the minutes of this meeting get sent to Parks. So all the details included. We did not go to Mililani. We stayed within our boundaries. But somebody in the committee, I forget who, Erica and Debbie. So if you want to speak to that.
Yeah, I have 2 Labradors and I drive all the way up there, and as I start pulling off the freeway and they start whining and wagging their tail and get tails collectively and get all excited. We stay about 20 minutes and they're done and they're wasted the rest of the day and they had a blast. Beautiful thing.
Okay, thank you. Community have, oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Uncle Lee. Go ahead.
I'm gonna stay quiet. I like the idea of using the old fire station. And maybe we can get input from the people that have dogs that want to run them over there to actually fix it up. That'll drive the city to say yes or no. And, you can plant trees, whatever you want. It's a clean sheet of paper. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else before I go to community? Anybody in the community? You guys have questions? You're gonna let Denise off that easy? No? Okay. Do you want to?
So we'll amend the motion according to the language that Blake suggested and according to the language that suggested, right? Regarding, just reinforcing what we have in the motion for that site. And then Erica's suggestion about Wailoa District Park. So those are the 3 amendments, friendly, all accepted, wording to be TBD, okay? And then we'll include the minutes. So it would be good to vote and move on.
Are we ready? Okay. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Abstain? Thank you very much. Motion passes. Okay, thanks Denise. Okay, I'm gonna invite next on the agenda Dillingham Ranch and the Spartan race. I'm gonna invite Nicole. She's from Dillingham Ranch. She's gonna come up and just share the information for this event. But that's the only thing. I just want to make it clear that's what she's here to share is just the event. Nothing else that's going on with Dillingham or any questions with something she might not be able to answer for you. So complete information. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole Kahale. I'm the operations manager for Dillingham Ranch. This is going to be our second year with the Spartan race. It's August 16th and 17th. We're expecting 2,000 cars over 2 days, 1,700 roughly on the first day, 14 on the second. A lot of them, I say 2,000 cars though, because a lot of them are repeat. They come for the first day and they come the second day. A lot of the same faces we saw. Last year went really well. We had no issues. We had a little bit of traffic issues, which we've adjusted this year. They've adjusted the traffic plan. They've added more parking, staffing. They really are a great company to work with. So we're looking forward to hosting them for many more years to come as long as things go well.
Thank you, Nicole. Anybody with a question? You gotta come up to the mic, Yvonne.
It's a
'Cause they gotta hear you.
Spartan race. It's a Spartan race. So they do over 70 races throughout the entire United States and the entire world, actually. But there's a multitude of races that they do. There's a 10K. It's lowest as a 10, and then it goes all the way up. But yeah, it's just like it's pretty much a run, walk race, and then they have obstacles in between that the racers have to do.
And Nicole did provide information up here. If anybody wants a copy of one, you can get one up here. Maka,
Is the ranch providing the venue free of charge? Are you folks making a profit? And if so, what is coming back to community?
That's not a question for me that I can answer today.
we can get more info for you, Maka, and send it to you.
Well, for all of us.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. You is us. Yeah. Denise.
Aloha. I happened to be out there, I think last year, saw a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of parking along the highway. What percentage of the cars will be parked on site as opposed to on the public highway? Because the highway was jam packed for people trying to
So
go out.
I monitored the highway last year. I didn't find a problem with the parking on the highway for Spartan.
Well, you did, but
The parking is free. So, and Spartan advertises it that way to all their racers. We don't charge a parking coverage, neither does Spartan, because they want the parking done on site. And that was an issue that I know the previous Dillingham ownership had with the bubble run. So we definitely made sure to address that with Spartan. And so yeah, there's no parking cover. So there shouldn't have been. And from about a mile from Dillingham up into the high school, I was personally patrolling it on my Polaris and I didn't find any cars.
Okay.
The highway parking that we do always have an issue with is that beach, which takes up a lot of parking almost every weekend. Also at the polo field across the street, they had a really big game that weekend. So there was some highway parking for that. But the Spartan race itself, I was out there at 4 a.m. Anybody parking outside from the night before, because there are people that try to park outside and like camp overnight. I was like personally kicking them out. So if they were even walking towards Dillingham Ranch, we stopped them and we had staff on the road to kind of eliminate that. If they went towards the beach, we let them go. But anybody walking towards our entrance, because we did only have one entrance at that entrance across the polo field, we were not letting anybody walk in.
okay, and I stand corrected. Was there the year before for the bubbles?
The
and that
bubble
was
run
a
was an
disaster.
issue, yeah.
So thank you for being
Yeah.
diligent. I appreciate the answer.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah, we
Yep.
got a lot of community feedback with that, and that was a big issue. So we made sure that the parking was free, and we sent them out. Every racer gets like multiple text messages, and they're very alerted to not park on the road. Yeah.
Thanks, Nicole. Anybody else? Maka, just to follow up on yours, so Dillingham is just hosting, so we'll have to reach out to Spartan with your questions, which they weren't able to come tonight, so we can reach out to them and disperse their response to everybody. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Okay. Up. Gosh, I hate these things. We have a presentation from Popoki Place Oahu Cat Sanctuary. We have Holly Holowak of the founder and the president, Malia Wish. Oh, thank you. They have a presentation and I'll have Holly take it from here. We got 10 minutes.
Great. Aloha. I'm going to be quick because Malia's got our presentation. My name is Holly Holowak. I am the founder and president of Popoki Place Oahu Cat Sanctuary, which is still a vision that we're trying to create. So we're going to explain it to you so you understand who we are and what we're trying to do. We hope to be in some kind of agricultural land eventually. We do have one parcel. This is my husband, Tom. He's also co-founder. We're all founders. So here we go. Take it away.
Hi, thanks so much for having us today, everybody. So we're here to give this presentation about our 501c3 nonprofit organization, Popoki Place Oahu Cat Sanctuary. A little bit about who we are. We are local residents. We all live and work all over Oahu. We've been here most, if not all of our lives. And we're all working hard to be part of the solution to manage free roaming cats. So we are all professionals with leadership experience in a variety of industries. We're doing this totally volunteer. Why are we doing this? The reason is decades of irresponsible acts by humans have led to an overpopulation of cats on Oahu. The cats have become a nuisance to some and are falling victim to cruelty and abuse. Cats also pose a threat to ground nesting native birds and can shed a parasite that can sicken monk seals. So everybody wants a solution to this crisis, whether you are a cat lover, a cat hater, an environmentalist, or a community leader. We all want the same thing, and that is fewer free roaming cats. So when we talk about free roaming cats, there are different kinds, and we have to be strategic about which ones we take. You hear cat sanctuary, you think we're going to take them all, but we do have to be strategic, and they fall roughly into these three categories. There are the lost and abandoned pets who are accustomed to people and should go to adoption sites like shelters and cat cafes. There are what we call community cats, which are less readily adoptable, but can be fixed and managed where they are. That is just the reality of the situation we're in. And then finally, there are cats which cannot stay where they are because of the imminent threat they pose to native wildlife. There's currently nowhere for these cats to go. And my laptop, something just fell asleep. So they're the ones that need a sanctuary like Popoki Place. I need to log in. It's Wall, W-A-L-L. Hopefully none of you will steal my laptop and get it. So this is our vision. A beautiful, rural, large-scale sanctuary is the missing piece of Oahu's cat puzzle. So how will it look? How will it work? It will be modeled after the very successful Lanai Cat Sanctuary on the island of Lanai, which has been open for 15 years. If you're unfamiliar with it, please look into it. There's a great video that we would normally show, but it's 4 minutes. We don't have time. So we'll just walk through the highlights. That's the video. It was aired on CBS Morning News. It is a rural 4-acre parcel. They care for around 800 cats in large but secure enclosures. They recently reported that no native birds have been killed by cats on Lanai since 2021. So that is the dream. That's what we're working toward, and we believe we can do it here. Everybody wants to bring this model here. All the cats are fixed. They are spayed or neutered and vaccinated before they come into our care. The large, secure enclosures are surrounded by escape-proof fencing, which has an angled top to prevent cats from climbing over it or digging under it. It's basically like the predator fences that you see at Canna Point or at James Campbell, turned around backwards so that the cats have to stay inside. As opposed to keeping cats out, we're keeping cats in. Cats will receive food, shelter, enrichment, and medical care. Medical care will be provided by partners like the Vet Tech program at Windward Community College, as well as veterinarians that volunteer with us. But our vision, our dream, is to have a functioning vet clinic on site to care for our cats, especially as we scale up. When that happens, we want to open that clinic up to be available to the community for your dogs and cats and small animals, because we know that you're isolated and don't have easy access to vet care, which is very similar to Lanai, which had no vets until Lanai Cat Sanctuary was able to bring one for their needs and open it up to the community of Lanai. Also with James Campbell Wildlife Refuge and other conservation work on the North Shore, an on-site that would enable us to be a holding site or transfer site for downed seabirds during fallout season. Of course, it will take time for us to grow to that point, but that is part of our objective. And then one of the most critical parts of our reason for being is education. Visitors will learn about our fragile ecosystem and the need to find balance by being responsible pet owners. By being a fun place to visit, school groups, volunteers, people who just come to play with cats will come away with much more context for being part of the solution. So of course, the big question is, where will it be? So we started this 4 or 5 years ago. We identified as our ideal lot being 10 acres to be able to grow, to serve the size of Oahu, relatively flat, easy access to existing road network, utilities, and some trees for shade. We have looked all over this island for a parcel that meets even some of this criteria, truly all over this island. We have had conversations with officials and realtors about properties everywhere on this map. We have been denied hundreds of properties, been ruled out due to zoning or other reasons. In 2022, we started off hoping to lease land in Waimanalo. Our Senator Chris Lee actually wanted it in his district. He identified a parcel that would have been great, but it was handed over to the city for homeless housing. So another place that we looked for, there was some land available to buy a golf course that will never be built in Kunia. It is zoned P2, which is preservation. That's the golf course zoning. But DPP has said we would be considered a kennel, which is not allowed on P2 land. So we could not be there. So we started researching where we can be. So Tom and Holly have been the last 2 years going to land use ordinance committee meetings to try to get a classification. Just tell us where we're allowed to be so that we can narrow down our search. And they determined that we could only be on Ag 2. So the city is also supportive. They want to help us. They even put a line item to buy land if an Ag 2 parcel can be found that works. So of course, if you know of any that might be a good option, please let us know so we can explore it. And ideally there's a connection. I do want to say, if you just sort of throw out neighborhoods, we've tried, we've looked, we've combed everything, Tom, mostly on foot. So ideally there are connections or solid leads that we can follow up that are Ag 2. Another DLNR is also supportive. Chair Chang said she would give us land if we could find it. In 2023, we identified 14 different parcels. At the time they said, sorry, all of them are in, but keep looking. So 2 years later, we discovered one parcel had become available. That is parcel 53, which is coincidentally Ag 2. So where this parcel is located is between Turtle Bay and Sunset Beach on the Mauka side next to the old Crawford home in the Ahupua'a of Waiale'e. It's a 20-acre parcel of land owned by DLNR. So just to make clear, we are only at the very beginning of this process. We've heard some rumors that we have this land. We do not. We have a right of entry. We have a draft of our environmental assessment. Once we submit it, if we get a FONSI, the finding of no significant impact, then we could apply to DLNR to lease it, at which point it would be opened up for public input and DLNR would make their decision. So it's a long way to go. This is the closest we've come. So this is a look at the parcel. Over the last 2 months, Tom and Holly have been surveying it on foot to see if it might work for us while we begin to have conversations with community stakeholders like yourselves. Although the parcel is 20 acres, a lot of it is not usable because it is boulders or impassable. The part that is most usable is the part on the right, which was former sugarcane 50 years ago. So the land determines where things can be. We plan to build the initial office container and the first enclosure at the top away from the highway, and then a simple access road to get back there. At the entrance off the highway, there is plenty of room for us to create a 3-lane entry, which will allow cars to come in and do a full turnaround within the property. We do not want cars backing up on the highway. And once we've established all that, then we would start the farming component to put orchard trees along the perimeter of the property and down in this part closer to the highway. Ultimately, we want to have space for enough cats to be able to support our partners and make a real difference. We will be strategic and grow carefully as resources become available. We do, of course, want to maintain a high quality of care for the animals and for the community. So addressing concerns, some things that might pop to mind. One would be cat poop. If you visit the Lanai Cat Sanctuary, you might be surprised there's actually no odor. That's because litter is very carefully managed. A critical objective of the sanctuary is to reduce the amount of toxoplasmosis getting into our oceans. Cats will have large litter boxes lined with waterproof material filled with locally sourced organic plant matter as litter. That's how it's worked. It's done on Lanai. The litter will be scooped out daily and disinfected to kill any germs that might be present. One way of doing this would be with a solar oven, which would heat the waste to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, the temperature at which toxo is killed. Then the litter would be disposed of off-site. And related to toxo getting into the ocean, of course, runoff, we will design the enclosures to incorporate swales, which slow down and filter stormwater during heavy downpours. We are environmentalists ourselves. We understand that if we are granted a lease to use the land anywhere on this island, we become stewards of that land. And we take that kuleana very seriously. There will be plenty of space away from the cat enclosures where we will grow some combination of culturally important plants, orchard trees, lay plants, and cat-related plants. We would love to know what kind of plants or foods you need or want in the community so we can determine whether the conditions are favorable for growing them. Traffic, we get it. We don't want to make it worse. We're going to be a small staff. We can't manage crowds. We know some people will want to come and visit. We'll only be open a few hours per day and maybe even run an appointment system to limit the number of daily visitors if it even becomes an issue. We know traffic is a very serious concern for you folks, so we'd love to get your input on this after the presentation. Another point I need to make is that North Shore cats would take priority if we're on the North Shore. If we are elsewhere, we would be taking, the priority would have to go to the cats that are near wherever we are. If we're in Waimanalo, it would be Waimanalo cats. We will not be able to take every qualifying cat when we open at first. So as we wrap up, we just want to emphasize this is part of what has to be a multi-pronged strategy. There's a lot of work already being done, but we basically need these 4 things all happening together. We need everybody spaying and neutering the pets and cats in their neighborhood. And so we are advocating for increased access to low-cost spay-neuter services. Of course, that our adoption sites are ample and have space available for friendly cats that need to be surrendered, that cat colonies are responsibly managed, and a large-scale sanctuary to be a pressure relief valve for the rest. So luckily, there is so much work already being done, whether we're trapping, neutering, managing stray cats, fostering kittens, sending them to the mainland, to mainland shelters, reuniting lost pets, saving cats and protecting wildlife every single day. We hope you share our vision, a place where animals, people, and ecosystems can coexist, a project rooted in care for the land, the people, and the animals. Thank you so much. Sorry I went over.
Thank you, Malia. Maka, can you get the lights? Thank you. Okay. Sure. Okay. Thank you for your presentation. I'm sure there are questions, and I will let the board start off first, but I will go to the people that are in that immediate district. You want to start off, Charlene?
I'm going to say I am truly, truly impressed with your presentation and the work that you have put into this. I really, I'm not quite a cat lady yet, but I definitely have some cats. So I do understand, because I went to a presentation about monk seals and how dangerous the poop and lepto is for the seals. And I'm just thinking what you're doing is very commendable. And I hope that we all support this in the city and let you do this somewhere. And we'd love to help personally.
Thank you so much. That means more than you'll ever know.
Thank you, Charlene. What else? Blake?
Thank you. Very well prepared presentation, nice visuals. And I guess I'm sort of confused about a lot of things. In this particular matter, I'm confused about a few. Like I think all of us would like to have the chair of DLNR say that they would give us land for our particular project. So that's an interesting statement. And I think people work in a lot of different ways, and they go and they meet with the community associations, they meet with community organizations that already work in the neighborhood. And I feel like that was a really large gap in this presentation. I didn't see any information about partner organizations that you've talked to. If you already have a right of entry and a draft environmental assessment, I'm trying to understand what type of community outreach was done prior to those documents and that right of entry being granted. And I don't know, it just seems a meritorious project. But in this region, I think there's a strong tradition of community outreach, community dialogue before such a significant 20-acre parcel gets utilized in such a fashion and gets access to a non-community group through our state agency without, I'm not sure which of our board members, if any, were aware of that right of entry occurring. So I just, like I say, I admire your guys' passion. I think it's important for people to pursue their dreams, but something just doesn't feel right about how this has come about. So I got strong reservations.
Well, thank you for that, if I may answer that. So we've been at this for like 4 years hard, and we've talked to so many people. We have talked to hundreds and hundreds of people from small organizations, starting, of course, with the CAT groups, the CAT people who are doing the work, talking to the vets, talking to the Humane Society, doing presentations for them. We've done presentations for various senators and the city council members and, you know, the representatives. We've done presentations. We learned that we really need to have pasture land somewhere, so it can't be, you know, we're not going to be in a building like the Humane Society with an air-conditioned building. It's going to be a very luxury, not luxury, God, rural area. We need a pasture land rural area. So we've been talking to everybody we can possibly talk to try to get that land. And part of why the DLNR was kind of helpful in this, and so far she's doing everything by book. She said things, but she is making us do it all by the book. Nothing is given to us. Don't even think that. But she had a problem with the, some cats, and so she wanted help with cats. And she said, you know, she was open to the idea. And so we did our presentation for her. We did our presentation for the Department of Ag. I mean, we've been going down the list. We didn't want to come and bother you guys with any of this until there was even a reason to talk to you about it. You know, like we started in Waimanalo, and then we went to Waikai, and we went to Kaneohe, and we, you know, because we live in Kailua. I admit we're not North Shore folks, but we sure love it up here. But we couldn't get what we needed. And so we've tried expanding our reach out as far as we can and find that, we call it the unicorn parcel. Someplace.
Yeah, just to be clear, DLNR did not say, we're going to give you land. She said, she kind of said that, but that's really not what she meant. It's been all on us. She said she would dedicate 0 staff to help us. We have to do all the work. We have to find it. We have to get the community input wherever we end up being. This is a parcel that became available, and we are doing our community outreach upon receiving the right of entry, which was 2 months ago. Since then, we have had meetings with Sunset Beach Community Association, North Shore Community Land Trust. We have had a lot of conversations with DOFA, with marine sanctuary conservationists who are supportive in general, and they are desperate for us to find a site. And it's just a matter of, this one is the closest we've come so far to being allowed to even begin to perform an environmental assessment. So that is the stage we are in now, is writing an environmental assessment. As we showed, the process goes on. If a FONSI is determined, we're granted that, then we could apply for a lease, at which point they would put it out for public input. So we are following the whole process. And Tom is showing a map. This is toxoplasmosis. So the red shows where concentrations of toxoplasmosis are most dense around the island. And I don't know if it's surprising or not, but the spot right where our parcel would be is one of the hot spots pretty much for the entire northern and eastern side of the island. So we hope to be a part of the community solution. We are not trying to be an enemy. We are not trying to make money. Oh my gosh, we'll be, all we'll be able to do is truly try to help restore balance to our environment. And so we hope to find support around the island. Thank you.
Thank you.
I laud your efforts and I look forward to volunteering with you.
We're happy to have you. Thank you.
Maka.
Thank you for the Freudian slip. So in regards to luxury, right? You're close to Turtle Bay, and you mentioned East Cat Sanctuary, which is on a totally different island that has a totally different demographics. The workers are there, but yet people go there for a luxurious vacation. And you're gonna have people from Kailua coming out here to North Shore to develop something. Mahalo for the presentation. Beautiful pictures, great words. We get presentations a lot from developers and families that want to do things on their land, and promises are made. Sometimes they're not kept. Will you have a cafe? Will you have a gondola? Will you have attractions? Will you have rides? I'm gonna ask these questions out of just sarcasm right now, because we're hit with a lot of things. And you know, that side of the island has a lot of stuff going on. And when you say Popoki Place, you're adding to the nicknames, the slew of nicknames that we have here in the North Shore that do not give representation of our actual names. Like I said, Turtle Bay, Turtle Beach. You have Polo Beach, right? Just coming down the coastline. And many other bonsai, looking at the names, backyards. Give honor to the names of our North Shore. Thank you for using a Hawaiian word to go ahead and educate what a cat is in Hawaiian. So I'm having some struggle, if you can hear me. And the luxurious word was the hammer on the nail. Thank you.
Thank you, Maka. Erica.
Yes, hi. I think this is awesome. I'm a big animal lover, so I'm all about the dog parks. I'm all about the animals. I was a love/hate per the cats because I used to live right behind the Haleiwa McDonald's, and there is a colony there that people feed, and it was very disruptive and horrible. I think we got that under control, and I'm very grateful for that. So I see how many cats are in that area. I've seen how many cats are at Haleiwa Harbor, and it's not surprising to me that that light green section is right there, you know, by the harbor. So this is, I think, pretty awesome. I get the reservations, and I did have a question about the food that you said that you would grow. Would this be something that you would be like selling at a farm side stand, or something that would be donated to the community? So, okay, so some for sale and some donated to the community.
He's been doing our farming.
Hi, I'm Tom, and I grew up on a farm a long time ago, and I feel like I'm coming around full cycle. I'm retired, and I'm going to be starting another farm again. The idea is to preserve the land and open it up to agriculture that can feed people. Cats don't eat vegetables, basically. They're carnivores. So what we want to do is work with the community and find out what the food crops are that will grow in our area. And I have to tell you, this area we're talking about is rugged. The sugarcane was put into a small area that was flat. Most of it is a boulder field coming from a basalt dike, which intruded into the very end of the Ko'olau volcano many centuries ago. And it has water in it now. That's where the Wailea well is from the top. And we have an opportunity to grow, we think, an orchard with ulu, which has one of the strongest crop values. Right now, I'm in the middle of an ag orchard course with UH. They have the Go Farm program that has ag experience, but we're not interested in doing root crops, truck garden type crops. We think that food crops in an orchard are the best. And so far we've gone to a couple of orchards up here in Waialua. And it seems like ulu is a good target crop for our main agroforestry tree. Underneath it, we can grow smaller things. Agroforestry basically uses tall trees and then medium-sized crops and then smaller-sized crops so that you can grow a lot of things. So we want to talk to people about, and then we also want to grow things which are used for cultural ceremonies. We want to, we think that challah needs to be reintroduced. Challah used to be native all over these slopes before the cattle ate it. And we also want to grow tea for cultural ceremonies. Also, luau leaf. We're actually open to suggestions, but right now I'm going around for the next few months and visiting orchards to find out what works in this area because of the climate and because of the soil. So the idea is that at least 51% of the property is going to be growing food. And the people I've talked to so far basically get contracts with larger co-ops, like there is an Ulu co-op that people contribute. There's a cacao co-op. And so we'll probably get into that rather than trying to sell anything off of a farm stand in front. So that, in a nutshell, is what we're planning to do with the farm, is to actually grow food for human consumption and culturally appropriate crops for the native population in Hawaii.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I love the idea of, he said both. Some would be for sale and some would be for donation. They said that before the long explanation.
We're still open to what we're going to do with that exactly. And exactly what she just said, some will be for donation. The community, if whatever community we're in, we want to talk to you. What would you like to grow there? What would you like to have? What do you need? Do you want more bananas? Do you want some mango? Do you want, papaya? What do you guys need first? Yeah, it's not a profit market for us. It's a way to help us be part of the community and support what we're doing. But we're not a commercial business.
Okay, Erica, you want to?
Yeah, I'll finish up real quick and pass it off. The cats are here, whether or not they're in a sanctuary. I would love to see it near the North Shore, because getting the cats away from the harbor, away from the monk seals, and out of our community, I'm all for that, because I don't like the feral cats running around. The vet clinic near that area, I don't know if there is one in Kahuku area because I don't live that far, but I know that there's only one on this side, so I think that's all positive things. Thank you.
Bob, go ahead. Linnell, wait. You gotta wait. We gotta get the order. You can come up after though, when I get to community. Bob, go ahead.
I'm a cat lover. I've got 5 cats. They're all fixed. None of them are breeding. And if you want to know what's good for the cats, I'll say lizards. Lots of lizard foods. They kill. They're true predators. I have cats that kill 2 birds a day. Some of them, they're into that. So Murdoch died. There's an awful a lot of land over here that Castle and Cook's been selling for a long time. I would think that a Murdoch cat sanctuary might be a really good thing. Anyway, just planting seeds. You mentioned responsible care so that to me suggests cat density. How do you check for fleas, etc. And the biggest problem you may have is dumping. And I don't talk about an individual cat dump. I'm talking about people who have to leave the island and throw it over the fence. So that's some stuff for you guys to talk about.
Thank you,
Bob.
Bob.
These are all conversations we've had and are gaming out all kinds of solutions for those things. Flea control is something Lanai Cat Sanctuary manages, and so we'll be following their model.
Denise.
Okay. Malia, great presentation. I think there's a lot of support for the idea. The question is place, and that's what you're struggling with. So just want to say mahalo for the concept. Heard good things about Lanai, but I have a lot of concerns about the place. So a couple of things. One, as I mentioned to you right before the meeting, traffic, business plan for something like this, I think, and I'd be happy to have your input, is somewhat dependent upon people visiting the site other than the employees. So very concerned about traffic, which is a hot button issue for us. Community engagement, I agree. All due respect, it was backwards. Should have come to the community before asking for the right of entry. I think a lot of us were like super surprised. And I reached out to Marigold right away and I said, man, here's like the 10 organizations or touch points, you should have, and you're in the process now, but I think you have to admit it was not ideal. Last, I know the Land Trust has concerns. I know some reps from the Land Trust are here. We'll speak to that. So I'd love to hear your response to that. And then I'm very confused about the ag, and I have to tell you, I'm not clear that that's within your mission statement. It's the first time I've heard about this ag, and so that would be my question: is it really within your mission statement? It seems like an add-on, and is now the cat sanctuary accessory to the ag? I'm very confused, and we all love ag, but it just sorry. So those are my comments. You don't have to answer them all now, but thank you.
Thanks, Denise. Frank.
Chair, so great presentation. I like the maps, and on the map, there's a parcel that you will surround. Have you communicated anything with them? And I'd like to know what their thoughts and reaction is. And also, just to echo what everyone else is saying, is that a lot of times, because it is Ag 2, you know, it's smoke and mirrors a lot of times, you know. People say, oh, we're going to grow all these plants. So my real question is, what is your business plan, and how are you going to be sustainable? How are you going to be here in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? You know, who's going to pay for your staff? Who's going to pay for your cat food? All these high-tech solutions you have for the cat litter and everything. Where's all that going to come from, all the money for that? Because I don't think school groups are going to pay for that. That's not enough, obviously. So you got to have, like, you know, some income. So what's your plan for that? And what did the neighbors say?
Okay, we have spoken to the owners of that property. It's Juliana property. She's very supportive and very excited to have us there. So that's good. We've also spoken to the Pearl Haven staff. They're happy to have us there because we would not only be a nice community, but their children can come and enjoy the being there and volunteering and learning about the ecosystem and everything. So the people right immediately to our, within us, which was a big shock. And then on the other side, so far have been very supportive. And we've also gotten other support from the Sunset Beach Community Association, who is, some people have reached out to us and said they were supportive. Some, not everybody. Yeah. And the other thing, money. Well, money's a big one, no doubt about that. Part of what we plan to do is start small and grow as the money comes in. But we have had, over the course of this, we've had a lot of supporters that are just waiting for us to get the land so they can give us the big bucks. I mean, they really are. They're sitting there, you know, saying, here, we'll give it to you when you get land. I can't ask them for that if I don't, you know. We do have some money in the bank. We got some decent donations and one very, very large donation. So we will grow as the donations come in. And grants, of course, we'll be writing for grants. As far as the farming goes, honestly, I'll tell you, in the original plan, it wasn't part of the original plan. But as we've gone through this process and we're learning about the whole process, we have to be farmers. We have to. And what I would like to do is be okay with that, be happy about that, and partner with the people who want to do that and help us. And if you want to be you know, if you want to help us grow things, we're open to that because we want to do best practices. Whatever we do has to be done right. It has to be done Pono with the highest quality, and we'll grow as we can. We're not going to go in and develop it. We are not developers. We will clear it so we can get to the land, so we can start growing. And then we'll start growing this orchard and start growing that orchard and start building that cat sanctuary and bring the first cats in and get all our systems in place and then grow that. We can visualize. We've been thinking about it for a while. And I just wanted to address your comment. Popoke Place is just a fun name that popped out of my head. Obviously, I love all things Hawaiian. I thought it was cute. and it was alliterative and it just flowed out. And I added Oahu Cat Sanctuary to the name because I wanted to differentiate from the Lanai Cat Sanctuary to the Oahu Cat Sanctuary. But I didn't want to call it the Oahu Cat Sanctuary. It's just more fun to say Popoki Place. And so that's how that goes. And we are never going to be luxurious. I know that was a silly slip of my tongue. I'm tired, but we are humble. We are respectful of the Aina and of the people, of all of you. Tom and I would actually be moving up here and be your neighbors and hopefully your friends. That's part of why we're here. And I guess we did do it backwards, but I had never thought to go to every neighborhood board and say, hey, we want to do this and we want to do that, and we're not even going to be in your neighborhood, so it didn't occur to me to come to you first. And I apologize if that was an insult in some way. But would you want to know all of this if we're not even thinking of being here? If we were going to be in Hawaii Kai, why would I come here and talk about it? So I was just trying to be respectful of your time in that way.
Thank you, Holly. I appreciate that. I really want to be able to move this along because we have another big presentation, but I'm just going to say this. I can't tell you how many times people come in front of us and tell us, I'm going to take this ag land. But you are kind of a developer because you're going to clear it and develop your sanctuary, right? And ag is not your primary. And you're on ag land where ag has to be your primary. You have to be 51% in full cultivation before you even get to do something. And that will take time. So I think there's a lot of work. And I want to make note too, I want to be clear that did you get support from the Sunset Beach Community Association as a board?
I'm not saying that. What I said was.
I just want to make that clear.
Not
That's why.
talking about that yet. They did not, they just listened and asked a few questions.
Okay, I just wanted to
But I
make that
got-
known.
But I got emails from some supporters.
Okay,
Saying they would love it. and
as individuals.
As individuals, saying that it felt to them like a good fit in the neighborhood and they were excited about the project.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your presentation. I can take a couple of questions from the community. And then we have to move on because we do have a decent sized presentation next.
Aloha kaku, Kavela Ferrant with the North Shore Community Land Trust. The North Shore Community Land Trust did become aware of this when the press release was put on the news a couple of months ago. As you folks probably know, we take care of 30 acres across on the Makai side of Waiale'e, restoring Kalo fish land, the sacred local vai, 30 acres or 20 acres of Lo'ikalo or historic Lo'ikalo lands, and surrounding areas where we're trying to restore agroforestry and we believe is Waiale'e lako pono, or bringing the abundance that is in pono balance with the land back to this ahupua'a, which is a vision that was defined by the community back in 2019 through a series of 3 community workshops, which gathered over 150 community residents to voice this collective vision for holistic ahupua'a restoration from Auka to Makai for this very special ahupua'a, which is so unique within our region of being intact, owned by the state from Auka to Makai, having, I would argue, the most pristine remaining wetland on the island of Oahu that contains all 4 native Hawaiian water birds, 5 species of native fish, 3 species of our native o'opu, aholehole, and ama, and potential turtle and monk seal breeding grounds. We're talking 500 feet from this area, less than 1,000 feet from this area. So I agree. I appreciate the presentation. I appreciate the effort put in and the merits of the project in a location, but we did quickly send a letter to BLNR and also express our concerns to various community groups that we strongly have strong reservations about Popoki Place being sited in Waiale'e due to the extremely close proximity to one of the most pristine wetlands on the island of Oahu and the ocean and the, accessory use of ag land, as well as the highly de-emphasized focus on tourism. So there's a lot of strong concerns. We are not saying that we actually support, the potential for this project in the right location, because there, as the presentation showed, there's a lot of merits, there's a lot of issues with cats, but as neighbors and, active community group working in this community for over 25 years and working in Waialae for the past 5 years, we at this time do not support, we do not support Popoki Place in Waialae. Mahalo.
Thank you, Cavallo. State your name, please.
Neighborhood Board. My name is Mary Zoll. I'm the branch manager for the Division of Forestry and Wildlife at DLNR. And I've been working with Popoki Place for the last, 3 or so years, just conversationally trying to find a spot for them, because we really would like to find a place to reduce the wildlife interactions with cats. And so that's really where our goal is centered on, is to find a spot where we can bridge the gap between folks who care about cat welfare and folks who care about wildlife welfare. I don't know if this is the right spot for them. The process will reveal itself, right? As they go through this process and find out about this place and get public input. That's what the environmental review process is for in this public thing. So I'm really happy that you guys have put this on the agenda and are hearing it tonight. Thank you.
Chair.
Yeah.
Chair, may I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead, Blake.
So I just want to read from the prep. In addition to fenced enclosures, plans for other improvements at the proposed sanctuary include a visitor center, offices, caretaker housing, spay-neuter medical clinic, parking, utilities, and an approved wastewater system. And I didn't see any of that in the presentation that was given to us tonight. And so, I don't know, I'm just kind of blown away in a lot of ways. And I want you guys to understand that we're all animal lovers. We're all lovers of people who work hard to pursue a vision. A lot of members of this community have worked very hard on a wide variety of projects, but to not mention these things that DLNR put out in its own news release in your very in-depth, well thought out presentation is outrageous and bizarre. And it pulled on the heartstrings of obviously several members because of the nature of people in this community. We love animals. We love people who are dedicated to nonprofit missions. And in addition to that bizarre approach to your presentation, I think the angst that you're observing from someone like myself is the fact that the chair of one of the most important agencies in this state of Hawaii would on their own go ahead and grant, 20 acres to an outside community group when members of our community have fought for years to steward important areas controlled by that very same agency. So nothing is directed at you personally, because you seem like great people, obviously know how to put ideas together, but there's something fundamentally wrong with this process. And I would think that in common sense would pump the brakes 500 feet away from a very important place to this community that people are really working hard for. And I don't see anything stopping the birds from flying into the enclosure. And what happens if there's a jailbreak out and they go and eat some eggs and things like that? So I don't know. I'm asking you, I'm beseeching you to stop what you're doing out of respect to this community and out of acknowledgement that is crazy for our government agency to just say, oh yeah, you guys can have this access to this land. That's just not right.
Thank you, Blake.
I'm sorry, the right of entry is simply a right to go onto the land and to investigate it and to assess whether it is appropriate for their uses or not. It's not a disposition at all.
Okay, so you guys haven't secured land or anything like that. So I think it's clear that there's a lot of concern. There's a lot of questions. So there's probably a lot of homework to do still. So I do appreciate you guys, coming out and sharing. It is a very well put together presentation. But I think there's just a lot more to consider and a lot to address. So
If I could just answer one thing that he said.
Uh-huh.
We did not We did not put out that press release. We had nothing to do with the press release. We were invited to go give a presentation at the BLNR to see if we could get the right of entry. That's all. And before we even got back to our house, half an hour away, they had posted it all over the place. I mean, they made the post, they made the pictures, they said we got all this. They were talking about it like it was a done deal. And all of our friends were like, oh, yay, you finally got land. Time out. This was not us. We did not write that. And so it kind of put us at a disadvantage because immediately the Instagram blew up. Oh, you're using it for this. Oh, you're using it for that. Oh, well, to use it for homeless. Well, I helped the homeless for 20 years as a director, and this is not appropriate.
Well, I just want to, I'm so sorry, Chair, to interrupt, but like,
So-
I think one of the important things that you also revealed was that the chair, Don Chang, has problems with cats somewhere in her own neighborhood, and I see you nodding your head back there, Malia. And so I think that is something you have to ask yourself too, is the director using her agency to direct a solution, a proposed solution on something that she's concerned about personally. And so, like I say, I think a reasonable organization, a reasonable community-based organization would stop what you're doing and reassess and ask yourselves, is this the proper way to treat a community? Thank you.
Thank you, Blake. What I'm going to do though is I think clearly there has, like I just said, there's a lot of homework to do, but I think that issue is between you guys and DLNR. Like you guys got to work it out.
It's
But
part of
it's out there
DLNR's
and that's,
Kuleana is to protect native birds, and they are really struggling with that, and cats are a huge
Yes.
problem for them, and so they're looking for community solutions.
We're
That is
fully
why.
aware. Thank you. So I wish you luck, but I would just ensure that, maybe the conversation can continue. But I would definitely look into hear all the concerns that this community pleased. That's a lot of land that you want to step in on. And I have to say that 500 feet away from a very valuable space is concerning. So I would do what you need to do, work out the kinks, and, we appreciate you coming out.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you so much for the time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your kind comments. Thank you for your adverse comments, because we're not trying to do anything to hurt anybody, and we want to partner with. So if you're willing to partner with us, that would be great. And we appreciate all the good support that we've had, and we understand your issues. So
Thank you, Holly. I'm sorry, I
Mahalo.
got to move this
Thank
along
you
to
so
the
much.
next
Mahalo
guys.
nui.
Thank you so much. Okay, next on the agenda, we have our Lania Kia update. Henry Kennedy, Engineering Program Manager of HDOT.
Yeah.
Willing to stay in. Like a dog.
Okay.
Gotta get close.
Okay.
Let's say no.
You can go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Shh.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to present tonight. My name's Henry Kennedy, and I'm the Engineering Program Manager for the design branch at DOT Highways. So I'm here to present our Kamehameha Highway drainage and safety improvements vicinity of Laniakea Beach. Next slide, please. So the photo we're showing was taken February 2024, and basically it shows what the roadway looked like prior to the start of this project. You notice the Malka side of the highway, we had a parking lot. Next slide. So the primary purpose of the project is to improve pedestrian safety and improve safety for all modes of transportation on Kamehameha Highway fronting Laniakea Beach. The project's secondary goals are to improve the roadway reliability and to support alternative transportation modes such as pedestrians and bike facilities. Next slide, please. So after we did the engineering analysis, the preferred alternative included realigning Kamehameha Highway, Malka of its current alignment near Laniakea Beach, provided a parking lot on the Makai side of the newly aligned Kamehameha Highway, installed drainage improvements and streetlights on the Malka side of the highway. We're providing a new bridge at Lauhulu Stream to support the new alignment of the highway. We're also repurposing the existing highway roadway into a shared use path. Next slide, please. So how we got here, back in June 2023, the city granted us an SMA permit. And one of the conditions of the permit was that we should provide a plan and a parking lot that includes parking for a minimum of 50 vehicles and manage ingress and egress that is located on the Makai side of Kamehameha Highway. Next slide, please. Also, in March of this year, DLNR issued a conservation district use permit that included requirements, one of which was to make a presentation to the Sunset Beach Community Association, which we did earlier this year, May of 2025, and also asking us to make a presentation to this North Shore Neighborhood Board, which we're doing here tonight. Please. So as part of the Conservation District use permit requirements, we sent out an early draft of the parking lot to government agencies and individuals, including the DLNR Land Board, their DLNR, OCCL, and elected officials, and various community members that had previously commented on the project. Next slide, please. So what you see here on the screen is a sketch that we had sent out to them. This original layout had only one entrance and one exit. Cars could turn left or right into the parking lot, but could only exit turning right and heading towards Haleiwa. Next slide, please. So as a result of that, we received quite a bit of comments, and generally the comments can be summarized as concerns or issues regarding the parking lot access and exit, the proximity of the parking lot access to Puaholo Way, safety concerns with vehicles potentially making unsafe maneuvers after leaving the park, and finally, concerns about access for first responders. Okay. So, we looked at all the comments and we made some significant changes to the original plan. And among them, the ingress and egress has now been relocated
near the middle of the parking lot, creating separation from the Pohakalua Way driveway. Pohakalua Way is further distinguished from being part of the parking lot with the construction of a driveway apron, as well as placement of private road signage along the highway. Note, the middle access point allows entrance from either direction. In addition, exiting vehicles will also be able to turn in either direction as well. Vehicles will not need to make a U-turn to continue towards Haleiwa or Waimea after visiting the beach. And finally, priority parking area is still a part of the design, and we intend to do additional outreach with the agencies, especially Ocean Safety, after the design is substantially finalized. Last slide. So that concludes our formal presentation. Should you have any questions after the meeting, please email our project manager. His name is Robert Sun. We have provided his email on the handout that we've offered up to the neighborhood board. This PowerPoint will be located on our DOT website. The address is also provided, the handout. And now we'd like to open the meeting for questions. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to start off with board members first, but I will hand over to Denise.
So aloha to Robert and the DOT team. I want to lead off because I've been involved in following this project recently regarding the Makai parking lot and the conditions, and I want to compliment DOT sincerely because I've been really following this and they've made huge improvements. That was an excellent presentation because it was just accurate. The conditions that were put in the SMA and the CDUP. So thank you. It's great. And also I want to say I was at the Sunset Beach Community Association. You nicely summarized what the concerns were and then you recirculated the draft. I commented back yesterday, huge improvement. So imagine that. I am very enthusiastic about your presentation. So thank you.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. A lot of hard work to go. And I just want to mention that another condition of the BLNR permit is that DOT convene a working group.
Yes.
And I wonder if you could mention that rather than me explain it, you explain it. There's just for everybody who's following Laniakea, there's still a lot of steps to go and opportunities for public input, even though the main project is, as we know, being done. So could you address the working group?
Okay. Rob, feel free to jump in case I miss anything. So in September, we're going to convene a working group, and it's going to be comprised of representative members of the different parties that have interest in this parking lot. And the whole point of this is to help us refine and finalize what we finally provide to the community. And we're going to work on if there are any outstanding design details or issues that need to be addressed, as well as the long-term management or maintenance of the parking area.
Thank you for that. And for the community, there's a lot of people in the community who have long-term ideas about how that parking can be managed by whom and for what. And that's one of the ideas that the working group could address with DOT kind of as a convener. We're not talking about DOT necessarily managing it. So that I just wanted to lead with that with a big mahalo. I do have detailed comments, but I know how to reach you guys and appreciate that. So do you want me to go ahead and take questions from the board, Bob?
Number one, once upon a time, the DOT said, we don't do parking lots, but it's on your plan. So mahalo for that. Nice that you have that kind of flexibility. It's probably easier than touching your toes. No. I do have a question though, as it relates to, you usually have an archaeologist monitoring for cultural whatevers. And I'm curious, whatevers might have come up and if the person's still engaged or if that's a temporary thing for when you're just starting to break ground. And because there are some cultural sites actually between the highway and the ocean. It's a very interesting area. The other thing I'm curious about is that as it relates to meets and bounds, as you know, the T had its state land, and then it was the city county land, and now the DOT is putting the road on the city county land. So does the city county land revert to the state? And if that's true, is there any way that park can be recaptured perhaps for another location? There's a lot of questions.
That's quite a few. Maybe Todd or Rob could help me on the archaeologist. I believe we have one during construction on site doing the archaeological monitoring. So that is currently ongoing. He's asking, do we find anything? I believe
I can help you out. To Bob's question, I attended the Oahu Burial Council meeting last week. And to my surprise, Laniakea was on there for inadvertent discovery of unidentified Native Hawaiian skeletal remains at Laniakea during this project. I'm along the lines of Bob's question, who is monitoring and have there been findings or what was the conclusion?
They were reported to the state.
State your name, please.
Robert Sun, project manager. These findings were found construction staff during the construction of the bridge, the new Lahulu Stream Bridge. Sorry. Okay. So there were findings, inadvertent findings near where the new bridge is being constructed. The findings were discovered and reported to the State Historic Preservation Division. Unfortunately, I'm not part of the construction staff, so I don't know the exact details of what followed, but I am aware they're continuing to monitor the area and for all excavations and continue to report and advise the State Historic Preservation Division as they continue the work.
I'm just gonna throw out there and you can tell whoever you want. But on the heels of another location having found Iwi Kupuna doing proper protocol, I noticed you guys are still working. So I encourage you guys to please follow up on this. And when we went to the blessing, it was specifically asked what your protocol was going to be. And I was told that you were not going to be digging. It was only surface. So to find Iwi Kupuna is alarming, but more alarming that there's still work going on without knowing what it was. So whoever you need to, you're the project manager. So I'm just saying, you should know. So I think it's a situation you need to address, and it needs to be related to the community because it is a very, very concerning topic, not just for you guys, but around. It's happening more frequently. Sorry, Bob, I cut you off.
So the rest of the story was, as it relates to city county parkland, how's the outcome going to be on the meets and bounds in the future?
so. We have entered into conversations with the Department of Parks and Recreation, and we're trying to work out somewhat of a global settlement because, as you know, we have all these beach parks throughout the island, and the majority of our highways, it's a belt road system. So DPR expressed to us their concern that when we had these construction projects, they were, it was like death by 1,000 cuts. We're taking a piece here, a piece there. So we've gone and done an analysis of all of our ongoing and future projects. We've come up with a total acreage, and we're supposed to be convening a meeting with them. And what they had intimated to us is that one of the things they're interested in is either if we could help supplement one of their existing beach parks or to provide some sort of amenities to their park system. So we'll be exploring those options and working something out with them island-wide.
Okay, I'm glad that's going forward. Sometimes the DOT can take 20 years or more. And so I would hope that there's a timeline on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a comment, and then we'll see if there's any other board questions and turn it over. My comment is, make sure you speak to Jen Barra, the planner for DPR.
She is one of the people that was at the meeting. We met with.
Was that recently? Because she told me she hadn't been contacted as of last week, so.
It's actually kind of odd because the initial meeting was with Laura Thielen, Jen Barr, and another person from her staff. And I was there with our director
I
and
believe you.
my staff, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so maybe reconnect with her, refresh her memory. Okay.
Definitely.
Thank you. There is Leaf, go.
You know, you're referring this as a park. When this whole thing started, it was not to make it a park. It was to make it a bypass, basically, and to accommodate the surfers. So I would like to take park out of the whole picture. And don't even say park when you say it, because we don't need a park there. We just need a parking lot for the surfers and.
Yes, I want to be clear. What we're providing at Laniakea is only a parking lot. It's just that through our discussions with the Department of Parks and Recreation, we've come to recognize that we both have mutual concerns and that by working together on a larger scale, we might be better suited to address both parties' better interests. That's all I'm trying to allude to.
Let me just, Leaf, there's 3 acres city parkland there. That's what he's referring to, not creating a new park, but the disposition of the existing 3 acres of city parkland. So it's got to be disposed of somehow. And they're talking about the ongoing process. Any more? We got to get some public questions. Any community member questions? Come to the mic.
Name is Carl Hodel. I've lived on Pahakawa Way for 40 years, and I want to thank the State Department of Transportation for making the changes that I think we were very concerned about.
Carl, louder.
Can you hear? Okay, great. My questions are, number one, what is the beach access from the cars there? Is it going to come into the Pahakala Way street and go down the way most people enter the turtle sanctuary, the Honu area now? Because we have a problem with vans and Uber drivers and people just parking on our road and parking it up and getting out to take their
So
pictures.
the question is, how will the beach access work
Right.
from the Mackay parking lot? Or
Right.
do either of you want to answer that?
And then the second question is,
Okay.
there's been a recent severe injury at Chun's, and Chun's has the same liability with people crossing the road to the parked cars that Lonnie's did. Is there any plan to extend this road, this, I call it the road, past Lonnie's to Ashley Road?
So do you want
That's the
to answer
second
those
question.
2 questions?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Carl.
Technical difficulty. Okay, there we go. I can't speak to the Chun's Reef issue. I'm not familiar with that. With regard to beach access from our parking lot, I believe it's designed for the users to walk from the parking lot onto the beach.
So at the parking lot, there's at the parking lot, there's a central access to the shared use path that runs along the beach. I believe the two ends also currently have an access to that shared use path that again runs along the beach. There are no improvements directly to access the beach per se, because we're just ending the project where the state highway right of way used to be.
Okay, any other community questions? Frank? And then I think that's it. No, we're gonna, oh, one more. Okay, good.
Thank
Frank.
you. So the current existing highway will become a mixed-use path. That's what I understand. My question, and I thank you for that. Will that be repaved? Because I know this section of the highway hasn't been repaved in at least 25 years. So even if it is an existing highway and could become a mixed-use bike path, pedestrian path, will that be kind of remediated to make it an improved bike path? Or is it just going to stay with all the potholes?
Not the entire path will be used. The portion closer to the ocean will be remediated, naturalized. The actual new path would be the Malka Lane. So the Malka Lane would be, repaired to the extent necessary to operate. But in general, probably not completely restored, but at least to where it's capable of supporting pedestrian traffic.
Mahalo.
Okay, Kanoa, where did he go? I don't see him. Oh, there he is. Question, maybe last question, I think.
Hello, my name is Kano Dalin. What I was wondering is, when I drive past Lonnie's, I noticed that you guys are putting in large concrete columns into the ground. It looked like there was that large machine there that was pounding the concrete columns into the ground. What I'm wondering is, and it's happened in the past, like with the bypasses, when they pound the concrete columns into the ground, it actually cuts off the water source that feeds to the ocean. And being that Lanikia is a part of Kawailo all the way up to Chuns, there's a lot of fresh water that enters that ground and very important for the environment and local ecosystem, for ogo and fish and whatnot to come. So I'm just wondering if that was part of the environmental impact statement, if that was a consideration of when you guys place the columns, if in fact it would disturb the fresh water going out to the sea.
Remind us of your name when you get up there. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Todd Nishio with WSP. We're a design consultant and environmental consultant. Regarding the environmental assessment, it's an overarching view of the project's impact to the environment. And regarding the specifics, instead of just kind of speculating at this point, we'll get back to you on this.
Okay, so maybe can you exchange contact information with Kanoa and then also send the answer to Kathleen Pahinui so the board and Kanoa have the answer? Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Any other comments?
Aloha Kako. I just have a suggestion. Maybe we implement a paid parking system for visitors, because I feel like our state just caters to tourists constantly more than the local community. And we've just become more and more prisoners in our backyard, I feel. But if we implement a paid parking for visitors, we could use that money to stop erosion on the beaches and plant more native trees, or use that money to hire someone to tell all the tourists what the things not to do. Don't touch turtles, respect the natives and animals and mammals and all that good stuff. But just a suggestion, definitely good for discussion. Yeah, implement paid parking though.
Mahalo. I think other people share your comments about maybe a possible future. Do you want to final thoughts?
Yeah, I'd like to thank her for the comment, and you aren't the first one to mention that. I'm sure it'll come up for further discussion when we convene the working group. So I'll leave it to the working group to work out those sorts of things, but it's been raised before, so we're aware.
Okay, Maka and then Blake.
Mahalo. Mahalo, Chair Achu, for bringing up the concerns about our EV. Now, when Kanoa mentioned the concrete going in, just being slammed in, I'm not an engineer. I don't know how it's actually happening. If you're digging and then making a puka first, then the concrete going in, or if you're just slamming concrete straight in. Are you able to see that may or may not being crushed from the concrete? And if that's the case, then that's just blatant disrespect. But hopefully there's a way to see what you're going into. Because if you're not able to see the waterways that he's mentioning or referring to, then you definitely can't see the EV.
Okay, we'll take that concern back. It'd be better for us, I think, to confer with our construction people to make sure we're fully aware of what the process is. We'll provide a, thank you.
Okay, Blake and then Leaf. Blake was first.
Thanks for the presentation. I think it's so important, all of these issues, and I'm grateful for you going back and researching so that the board can understand all. I think by way of context, everyone is aware, of course, that the Haleiwa bypass road, at least on my understanding, was because of traffic congestion, because of the large number of visitors that were already coming out to this region as early as the 1960s, if not sooner. And then, of course, everyone will recall at this meeting place, we heard at least 3 alternatives, 2 more going farther inland, more Mauka, which would impact a larger area. And that my understanding is that this was the least intrusive, at least if you were to look from a top-down version, how far inland and whatnot, and how large of an area would be affected. And so I think that's important consideration, that they tried their best to respond to some of the community feedback about the further inland routes that were being proposed at the time. And then my last comment just has to do with the stakeholder group, or the whatever group, advisory group. And I'm just hoping that people who might have different sets of abilities, whether they're in wheelchairs, crutches, strollers, just there's obviously a wide variety of type of humans that utilize DOT and DPR resources. And I'm hoping that the board, the advisory group, will be inclusive of people of all types of situations. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Noted.
Okay, good. Leaf?
Just for my personal clarification, are you guys driving piles or are you boring and pouring? Drilling and pouring. Excuse me. I think you guys sent the wrong people out here because you guys not answering our questions. More,
Leaf, you're talking about their work in the stream bed, in the stream, right? And the bridge section?
I think depending on which segment of the construction we're talking about, they're utilizing different construction techniques. So we don't want to give a blanket statement and mislead you, because we think that'd be far worse than us taking the time to go back, being more precise and providing a more thorough answer. So I apologize if it seems like we're being evasive or elusive, but we're not. We just want to make sure that we provide accurate information for your.
I don't know. It just sounded. I mean, you could say we're doing both. That's not a hard question and answer, but.
Well, Leaf, do you have a specific, are you talking about the large machinery that's out there now that is
No, I'm
working in
just-
the stream area, or the
They're
whole
obviously
project?
doing something in the ground, and I
Okay,
haven't
so-
gone over there and seen piles.
Okay, so the
driven.
question is
So
for
I
the-
was wondering if they were drilling and pouring.
For the whole project?
No?
I believe
Or if
what
they're-
he's referring to is whether we're utilizing drilled shafts for the bridge versus driving piles. I believe we're utilizing drilled shafts, but I feel a lot more comfortable because I haven't spent that much time looking at the design. I mean, I manage from a very broad elevation, so.
Can you get back to?
Yes, and
that? Okay.
that's,
But
yeah.
I think now we
then-
know the area.
And
I
then to
believe, yeah.
go further with that, are you guys testing? I guess is not the right word, but are you taking that soil that you take out and checking for EV or other historical artifacts?
I believe that is part of the purpose of the archaeological monitor. They're there to ensure that we don't, because they've already done their survey, their archaeological survey. So anything that they find now is really, that's what I guess is defined as an inadvertent find. It's something that was unexpected. The purpose of the archaeological monitoring is to ensure that, nothing like that gets out of control. So they are monitoring.
Great. So I think we're going to have some up from you specifically about all the questions regarding EV Kupuna and archaeological monitoring and then we can always do follow-up questions. Okay, good. So can we mahalo DOT for coming and move on? So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Denise. Just gonna take these.
Okay, we got like literally 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes or so. So our elected officials from the mayor's office, Kealoha, is she still here? Oh, yes, she is. And then we'll follow her with Councilmember Wyer's office. 3, 2, 1, go.
Aloha. I'm sorry. It's like, I know. I have the road here between us. I just have one update tonight. This was the question about for last month about the lead time for the designation of new facilities and how they get placed onto the map. And so DPP has provided the response that there's an ordinance in Chapter 4, Article 8 for public infrastructure maps. And so the symbols are publicly funded facilities for the development plan area. These then get adopted and then shown on the applicable PIM before the appropriation of the land acquisition or the construction funds. There's a 90 days from acceptance period, and then upon the PIM resolution, DPP initiates the administrative processes to add the symbols to the map. And then HLM, new division for housing and land management, and DFM, the Department of Facilities Maintenance, have both deferred to DPP as for the answer. Thank you. Any questions?
Questions, anybody for Bob and Frank?
So your answer to the, how do you get on the public facilities map was a good one. So here's another one related to that. Andy Anderson's program there, that's 7 acres on the backside. When I looked at the last public facilities map, that acreage was designated as a public facilities. It's not public land. And we haven't had any presentation that suggests that there's a public use for it. How did it get on the map? And more specifically, how does it come off the map?
Okay. We'll look into it and then I'll come back.
Thanks, Bob. Frank?
Regarding bike paths in general. So we have this Wailoa Beach Road bike path, and then over this bridge right here, right next to the school. There is no bike path there, and that is a gap. We have gaps, and there's a gap right there, and that is a dangerous gap. And I met with someone from White Bicycling League who was a part of the ride recently. That area is a dangerous area for everyone, especially children around, because it's not safe. There, there's a part where it's just dirt. It goes from paved to dirt to a little narrow sidewalk next to the bridge, then back, resume on the bike path. That should be addressed. And when we have a bike path on Haleiwa Road, a mixed-use pedestrian path, that should also be continuous. I don't want to have a gap where there's a bottleneck right before the bridge, where the road does get very narrow. these are the most dangerous spots. These are the most dangerous areas that we really need to have a safer passage. You know, we've had several accidents in the past week or 2 weeks on the North Shore. Very serious accidents, fatal accidents, and a lot of people have lost their lives just in the past couple weeks on the North Shore in cars and driving, and outside of their cars, people have gotten hit too. We are working towards making it safer for everyone on state and city roads. And I don't care if it's state or city. You know, I know there is a difference, but I just want to express that this is a need to have that gap fixed. And we should also make sure that Haleiwa Road is paved for mixed use path all the way. There shouldn't be an area where there is no path. So I would just appreciate if, you know, I know the mayor we could talk about complete streets, but I see incomplete, you know, streets. Thank you.
No, thank you. Mayor Blangiardi and our whole team is truly committed to public safety and public health. I'll make sure I follow up with Director Morton, not only from the presentation that they did at a previous meeting on complete streets, but to answer this specific parcel. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Kayla, thanks too to the team that came out Kathleen and I walked with them the entire Haleiwa Road. So the improvements that are scheduled for that look really encouraging for that. Uncle Leaf.
I'd like to hear some follow-up about our question to clear the drainage at Ali Beach Park that you know about. Nothing seems to have been done. Yeah, now's the time, but you know what? Hurricane gonna come, issue. So I'm kind of waiting to see what they're gonna do.
I'll make sure that I follow up on that one as well. And this was brought up at the town hall, and I want to make sure that it's being responded to.
Thanks, Leaf. Okay, anybody else? Thank you.
Lastly, Chief Logger and I will come back next month and we'll have an update, hopefully on some of the movement around the First Responder Center. We checked in today, nothing that we're able to share yet, but we'll be back next month.
Perfect.
Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Wyer's office, Kelly. Thanks for hanging out. Do we have someone from Senator Awaz's office too? Negative. Rep Peruso is here, and do we have someone from Quinlan's office? No? Okay. Go ahead, Kel.
Aloha Chair and members of the board, Kelly Anaya from Councilmember Matt Wyer's office. Just a couple things because of timing. Just wanted to update you, Bill 15 that I reported on a few months ago, which regards to financial relief for local families regarding the state's cesspool conversion regulations. The mayor approved and signed this bill on May 28th. Likewise, Bill 29, which extends the real property tax exemption for qualifying affordable rentals. The mayor did approve and sign this bill on May 28th as well. There's just a couple of community stuff that Councilmember wanted to highlight. The Mount Ka'ala meeting on June 3rd. Definitely wanted to thank the community for a strong turnout. Lots of valuable information was provided and discussions of concerns of the potential impacts to the cultural site and rural emphasizing the community's commitment to thoughtful land use. Likewise, Councilmember wanted to congratulate the North Shore Land Trust, the Trust for Public Land, and the community for the Clean Water and Natural Land Advisory Committee's approval of the, hopefully I don't butcher this, Ke Kipuka o Kalai'ila project proposal. The Trust for Public Land submitted the proposal to CWNL Advisory Committee to acquire 170 plus acre property and transfer it to the North Shore Land Trust, who will work closely with the community and the lineal descendants to steward the land. This proposal has been assigned to the Zoning and Planning Committee, but it's still awaiting a hearing date. So I'll be sure to update you when that happens. And then lastly, something fun, we wanted to thank our intern, Luca Cunaberti, who just recently wrapped up his internship with Councilmember's office. Luca is a proud Pupukea resident and is an 11th grader at the Asia Pacific International School in Hau'ula. Luca was amazing. He's a fast learner and has a passion for the community. So we wish him all the best. If anyone has any questions for, oh, I'm sorry. Board Member Anderson, I did follow up on your question, but I still have not received a response yet. So be sure to get that to you as soon as I do. And then I did speak with Board Member Leonel about the dog park, but I see that I guess they did something different with North Shore Neighborhood Board. So if anyone has any questions for Councilmember, I can take that now.
Questions? Thank you. Run. Rep Caruso, 3, 2, 1.
Aloha, Chair, committee members, or board members. So quickly, the governor has just recently amended his intent to veto list to include the measure that would have singled out judges for a cut in their pension. And the list also includes 2 measures I think that are important to this community. The first is the budget. So now, given what's happening at the federal level, the governor has put that on the intent to veto list, so it gives him some flexibility so that he can go in and amend the budget that we passed through line item vetoes, so as to move money around, potentially to address the Medicaid shortfall, for example, in our district, House District 46, which, you know, it doesn't include all of this neighborhood board, but we have 7,000 folks on Medicaid, so pretty significant. If you look at the statewide level as well. And then the other measure for this community in particular is House Bill 496, which was meant to sunset tax credits for the film industry and for the solar industry. And so that is on the intent to veto list. We won't find out until I think July 9th, whether or not he will actually veto. And then we're gonna have a conversation about whether to cut an override. There are some measures on that list that, at least in the House, there's some commitment to coming back in to override. So we'll see what happens with the governor. And then again, like we're right now in the interim, looking at implementation and of measures that we pass. So really working with departments and agencies to see where they're at, and, you know, legislation that we passed in previous sessions and most recently, and then looking forward to next session. So really connecting with community to see what community concerns are. So if folks have concerns that they'd like to see addressed in the next session, one thing we have started to work on is thinking about revising the HIPAA requirements. So the triggers that call for an EIS, because, you know, given our current conversations around Kamana Nui, that might be a path that we could advocate for that would provide more systemic protections for the community. So I encourage folks to reach out to our office, and
Thank you. Any questions? Frank.
Mahalo, Chair. I know in the past I've asked you if you could look into getting equal access to Wailua High School students to graduating with a associate's degree. I went to Leeward, equal access to community college classes. I went to I went to Leeward Community College's graduation this past, month, and they had the most high school students graduate with an associate's degree that they've ever had. I think it was over 50 students from all over Oahu. I'm pretty sure none were from Waialua. That is an injustice in my mind, and I would love it if you could get it into the session next year to try and fix that system. There's high schools all around the island that send their kids to community college to get an associate's degree or get some college credits. Waialua, unfortunately, does not have enough students or support for this program. And I think it's an injustice for our students, because then they're, unable to go to community college, save money, save time, get dual credit like the other schools around the island. I would really appreciate if you could get that on the agenda for your next legislative session.
absolutely. And I have also always been advocating for more support, more funding for dual enrollment. So it's early college. It's called early college. The program is a statewide program. And I think Raquel might have something to say. I feel like she's poised to talk. But Wailua is taking steps in that direction. They do have students enrolled They may not be at the point where they're graduating yet from the community colleges, but they are earning credits already. A lot of that has to do with our complex area. So they're working with Mililani High School, Leleho High School, and we have a fairly robust kind of collaboration developing so as to give more students access. And Raquel?
Yeah, and there might be students that are doing some, and I know also a Leilehua student that got a certificate. You don't have to get an associate's degree, but you can get a certificate, like 12 credits, you get a certificate. That's another thing in your pocket when you graduate high school.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, we gotta wrap this, but thank you. Anybody? Okay, thank you, Amy. I appreciate you. Really quickly, chairs or correspondence is emailed to the board members. We'll email to you. Next regular meeting, Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. And I have one board member announcement from Denise.
This is regarding board member attendance at community meetings. So for the record, on June 17th at 6 p.m., the City Council Zoning Committee had a special meeting to accommodate the North Shore community. And at that meeting, there were 6 board members: Kathleen, Raquel, Cheryl, Charlene, Debbie, myself, and Leaf on Zoom. He waited so patiently. So maybe that's 7 board members. So that's just a disclosure and a mahalo to Zoning Chair Kia Aina for accommodating the community.
Thank you, Denise. Okay, and we are adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. Doing that again.